Reserves the balance of his time. The gentlewoman from Illinois is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I yield myself such time as I may consume.
The gentlewoman is recognized.
Mr. Speaker, I rise today as a co-sponsor of House Resolution 1257, which recognizes April as Financial Literacy Month, and I would strongly urge my colleagues to support it. I'd like to begin by thanking my good friend and fellow chair of the House Financial and Economic Literacy Caucus, Mr. Hinojosa, for sponsoring this resolution and for his continuing efforts to improve financial literacy rates in America. Since 2005, when Mr. Hinojosa and I formed the Caucus, financial literacy has grown from an interesting offshoot of economic education to a key element in numerous efforts on and off the Hill to protect consumers, improve financial security, help manage debt, assist in retirement planning, and prepare our children to prosper in today's sophisticated marketplace. We've also seen financial literacy programs become successful centerpieces of campaigns to bring independence and family security to impoverished and underserved populations, women, minorities, and even victims of hurricanes or domestic violence. For example, with help from the Allstate Foundation and the National Network to End Domestic Violence, thousands of abused victims nationwide have benefited from the Economic Empowerment for Domestic Violence Survivors program. It empowers victims of domestic violence with a financial strategy to escape abusive households and help provide them with resources and training to achieve independence. Mr. Speaker, Financial Literacy Month is a chance to recognize and support the work of countless organizations like these around America and the leadership of groups like the Jumpstart Coalition, Junior Achievement, and the Council for Economic Education for all they do to educate American consumers and, most importantly, our children. It's also an opportunity to recognize how much more work remains to be done. According to the FTC, as was mentioned, approximately 60 million people in the United States are either unbanked or underbanked. 60% of preteens do not even know the difference between cash, credit cards, and checks, and yet only 26% of students are actively learning financial planning from their parents. And according to the National Foundation for Credit Counseling's latest consumer survey, 1/3 of adults, or more than 75 million people, are not putting any part of their income towards retirement, up from 28% in 2008. These are troubling numbers, and in today's economic climate, the financial challenges and choices facing consumers have only grown. That's why, as Congress reviews our national educational guidelines and takes up far-reaching changes to our country's financial regulations, we must keep in mind one of the most important benefits of financial literacy, as expressed in this resolution today before us. Financial education is the first line of defense against financial fraud. When it comes to preparing against economic uncertainty, recognizing deceptive practices, building credit, or making dozens of other day-to-day financial decisions, nothing protects consumers and their financial security more effectively than arming them, even as young students, with a sound foundation in financial literacy. Consumers benefit most from more financial options, not fewer. And with the right information and education, individual Americans are best equipped to avoid financial pitfalls, analyze risk, and make financial decisions that hold the greatest benefit for their future and that of their families. With that, I would just like to once again thank my good friend and colleague, Ruben Hinojosa, for bringing this resolution to the floor. And I'd also like to recognize the hard work of his dedicated staff, especially Greg Davis, for all their efforts. And finally, Mr. Speaker, I would like to encourage all my colleagues and their staffs to attend this year's Financial Literacy Day Fair on Capitol Hill, as Mr. Hinojosa mentioned, but I think it bears repeating. It's going to be held next Tuesday, April 27th, where members will be able to find a broad array of financial educational materials and ideas for reaching out to constituents on this important issue. This year it's being hosted on the Senate side in Hart 902 by Senators Akaka and Ensign, and invitations will soon be in the mail. Mr. Speaker, I urge my colleagues to support House Resolution 1257, and I would reserve the balance of my time.
The gentlewoman reserves the balance of her time. The gentleman from Texas is recognized.
Mr. Speaker, I ask unanimous consent that all members may have 5 legislative days within which to revise and extend their remarks on H.R. 3553 and to insert extraneous material thereon.
Without objection.
Mr. Speaker, I have no further requests for time and yield back the balance of my time.
Does the gentleman reserve? The gentleman yields back the balance of his time. The gentlewoman from Illinois is recognized.
Okay. Mr. Speaker, at this time I would like to yield as much time as she may consume to my friend and colleague in the Financial Services Committee, Ms. Jenkins.